for the US president, more than anything, the news over the last week has of course been tragic, but it also has been a little bit of a nuisance, because he believed that he and the Republican Party and that myriad of candidates that the Republican Party has in the Senate and in the House of Representatives were on a roll, that they were doing better than expected. A red wave is what he calls it, in comparison, of course, to the blue wave that many experts had been predicting in these midterm elections. The US president's rhetoric is very much in the headlines these days, but that doesn't mean that that kind of talk, those kinds of insults, his aggressive way of speaking, doesn't work for his own voters. And they are the ones that he has been trying to keep on his side since day one in the White House. And now it's coming to a head because we're reaching those midterm elections on the 6th of November. And largely what we're seeing is that the US president has those people very much on board. Around 25% of the US population, give or take. Now, they will, of course, have to go out and vote in these midterm elections. And as usual, you've heard this many times before. We talk about it at every presidential election, every midterm election. It's all about turnout. We'll have to wait and see whether Republicans or Democrats are more motivated this time around. But the US president, he's got his voters and most Republicans firmly on his side.
So, Philip, what are the odds then that the Democrats will retake Congress on the 6th of November?
Well, we've stopped betting here in Washington after what happened 2 years ago. I'm not a betting man and I wouldn't know exactly what to expect here. But here's essentially what we think might happen. To take Congress, Democrats would have to take over both houses. That's the House of Representatives and the US Senate. The House of Representatives, everybody is up for election or re-election, meaning that Democrats have a better chance of taking back control of the House of Representatives. Indeed, the odds are very good for Democrats to do that. That's one chamber that they would have in their possession, so to say, where they would have power. But the US Senate is much, much more difficult because only 35 seats out of a total of 100 are up during this midterm election. And a lot of those already belong to Democrats, meaning they've got a lot of defending to do rather than attacking. They have to defend what they already have. And you know, the odds are actually that Republicans might well gather 1 or 2 more seats, meaning that we'd essentially end these midterm elections with what most people would consider a draw. One of the houses would stay in possession of Republicans, the US Senate, that is, and the House of Representatives might well change over into Democrats' hands. That doesn't mean that Democrats would be able to stop the legislative agenda of US President Donald Trump. They'd be able to slow it down.
Philip, you've already been travelling and speaking to voters and business owners as well ahead of these elections for France 24. Any takeaways we should be aware of?
Well, when you leave the Beltway here in Washington, you do notice that the US president has a lot of supporters out there. We tend to analyze here in Washington how much Democrats might win. This is a very Democratic city, remember also. But when you go outside of the US Capitol, you really see how popular this US president is. Now, I went to one area that is considered pretty much a bellwether, frankly. The state of Ohio, first of all, is a swing state. Then I went to cities in Ohio that tend to be Democratic. The cities of Dayton and Cincinnati are the ones I chose. In the suburbs of those cities, that is where really the decision will be made. And I went to visit 3 companies. What I thought I'd come up with was a report where some of those business owners would say, this is Donald Trump's economy. Things are going very well for us because of a myriad of things that he has managed to put through already. But there are others who are saying, no, this is still Barack Obama's economy. It's been on a steady upward climb and still is ever since the big financial crisis during the first year of Obama's presidency. So I thought I'd see one company saying one thing, one company saying the other thing. These were small or medium-sized companies, but they all love what Donald Trump has been doing. They simply have different reasons for it. One business owner told me it was the tax cuts that made things easier for them, made them make a lot more money. Another one said the tariffs actually worked for that company because the steel industry is working again in the United States. Another one said that this is a White House that puts the onus on manufacturing. So these are just some of the examples of people who you see across the United States who are very happy with what this president has been doing. Again, we said it at the very start, those who voted for Donald Trump in 2016 are largely still very much on his side and truly believe in what he is doing and want more of it. Again, the question is, of course, will those same supporters come out in their droves and vote for Republican candidates across the country? That's still that unknown quantity that we have at this point.